Today's a fun day for me because we got something new from Boss Waza Craft, the FZ-1W. Very cool new fuzz pedal with vintage and modern tones. Let's check it out. How's it going, y'all? My name is Cooper Greenberg here in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you haven't already, you gotta subscribe to the channel, like the videos, comment on the videos, check out our Patreon, our podcast, Fretboard Confessional. We talk all kinds of weird and upsetting things. Hop over there, all the links in the description below. But like I said, we got a little Waza Craft action today. It's been quite a while that I've been waiting for this one. Like most things from Roland, you know, I always talk about we got word of this and then it takes a while to get it in. I was really into the tone benders, the TB-2W when those came out, and then they went so quickly. I did buy one, but you know, for a lot of other people, they went very quickly and it was a limited run, not gonna do it again. And everybody, I think, was complaining about not having access to a cool Waza fuzz pedal. So we got the FZ-1W, and that's a pretty quick turnaround time. Obviously, it was probably in the works when they were working on that TB-2W. But the cool thing about this, if you're, so let's talk about Waza first of all. The Waza Craft line is the made in Japan, high quality component versions of classic Boss pedals that have been released before. The Super Overdrive, Analog Delay, Vibrato, Chorus, Dimension C, a TU3 tuner, bunch of cool stuff. I know there's a few that I'm missing, but we got a Metal Zone. Come on, how can I forget the Metal Zone? Anyway, they did a limited run of the tone benders, and all of those had kind of their classic mode and then a custom mode that you could switch on. Maybe it was paying tribute to another classic pedal, something from one of their Roland sound modules or something like that. But there's a lot of hidden modes, all analog circuitry, very, very cool stuff. This is the first Waza Craft pedal that is not really emulating one specific thing from the past. They did a lot of research on classic 1960s fuzz pedals and put together a circuit that really pays tribute to that classic sound and also has a modern mode that takes things into a little different direction. But I've played like the FZ-5 before. That's another fuzz pedal. Looks very similar. It's got that same kind of hammered metal finish. And it was super cool, but it was not the most applicable in a band setting, I don't think. I kind of feel the same way about my tone bender, that I love how it sounds. It's a classic sound, but I played it at a show not too long ago and I kicked it on for a solo. Levels weren't perfect and I kind of dropped out of the mix. It's pretty, I won't go too far into that because I don't want to say anything bad about that pedal. I love it so much. But the FZ-1W is, I think, the perfect kind of fuzz for somebody that's going to be using it in actual live setting, not just having something cool, extra flavor on their pedal board. This really has a nice spectrum from light, crunchy, almost just overdrive fuzz. It can be a really nice boost, and then you can hammer it on and do some hardcore fuzz stuff. But I can talk about it for a while. I want you to hear it. I'm going to walk you through how I did the demos because I want to show off the vintage and modern mode, which is what that kind of switch is on this one. V and M, simple controls, level, tone, and fuzz. And I'm playing on a Fender Stratocaster. I chose the American Pro 2. I'm in the second position with the S1 switch, or the push-push knob engaged. So I got all three pickups on the Strat. I'm going to give you a little bit of clean tone. I'm playing on a Blues Junior, pretty moderate volume, a little bit of reverb, EQs all level with each other, and just kind of a tiny bit of punch. It's not the cleanest tone, but I think it's a tone that could be used as a clean with alternative rock or, just kind of good, moderate, clean stuff on a Stratocaster. Sample of that. Starting with the vintage mode, I got the level, right at 12 o'clock, tone at 12 o'clock, and fuzz at 12 o'clock. That's going to be the first fuzzy tone you hear, and then I'm pushing the fuzz to about 3, playing a little bit with the kind of hardcore tone, and then cranking the tone up to about 3 o'clock. So you hear it fuzz, more fuzz, fuzziest, and then doing the same thing on the modern mode. So you get 3 kind of sound samples: moderate, middle, hardcore. So let's check it out, a little bit of the FZ-1W. Here we go. There you have it, a little bit of the FZ-1W, new fuzz from Waza Craft. Like I said, I think it's kind of the perfect fuzz to apply into actual performance setting. It's not super finicky like an actual vintage fuzz. It's really nice kind of low-key fuzz tone that can be dialed into something that gets a little crazy. Really good sustain on here, but it's nothing that, like when you're playing more chord type things, I feel like a lot of times my big muff, my tone bender, you know, a lot of things like that almost gets to where you're just creating noise. You don't get a lot of like true harmonics and all that stuff to discern the chord that you're playing, which for the right genre, that's the kind of thing that you want. But this, I think, is a good 60s, 70s sound, something that's very classic, inspired by the classics. I do want to mention I messed with the tone knob on both modes because on Boss's website you can read a lot more about this pedal, or on our website, but the tone control acts differently from the vintage to modern modes. So on vintage, you're controlling both treble and bass frequencies, like you're controlling your whole EQ kind of spectrum. Modern mode, it preserves all the mid-range, so you're just adding extra high end and craziness on top, but you don't lose any of that bottom end. Vintage mode, if you crank it, I think you could probably hear, strips away a lot of that lower end and gets kind of, you know, really lead attack focused, which is cool. But I like on the modern mode, it's something a little closer to truly like, you know, some screaming heavy, you know, insanity fuzz, which is a good time. But if you want to learn more about the pedal, if you have questions for me, if you want to come in and try it out, alamomusic.com, you can get in touch with us. You can learn about the specs. You can see all the other Waza Craft stock that we have, because luckily, just like we got RE202s in, RE2s, a bunch of cool stuff from Boss is finally coming our way after being out of stock for quite a bit. So check out the FZ-1W. I think it's the fuzz for the everyman player, every man, every woman. You should have a fuzz on the board because overdrive, really nice, always on, but never going to get you crazy lead tone. Distortion, not for everybody. Sometimes gets a little too screamy 1980s, so you need something vintage style and something that's inspired by those classic, you know, early rock tones. I think this is it. Let me know what you think in the comments. See you next time.